Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Iblis Manifestations Podcast. This channel features lengthy off-limits conversations with various different artists and entrepreneurs, predominantly from the underground metal scene. We take deep dives into the topics of life, music, spirituality, and take insight from a variety of thought-provoking perspectives from personalities who you don't often hear from in a mainstream settings. I am your host, Cheyenne, and I was originally born and raised in Iran and currently reside in the UK. I am the frontman and founding member of the black death metal band TRIVAX, who have been active since 2009. The band originally started in the Islamic Republic of Iran, where such type of music is banned as well as a punishable offense. You can check the band's pages for any updates on tour dates as well as new music. I am also a personal trainer and an online fitness coach who specializes in people achieving the best versions of themselves physically and mentally. Having been someone who was once extremely out of shape and overweight, I find it to be my duty to be able to pass on the information and knowledge which I've gained to help others achieve the same transformation. The Iblis Manifestations Podcast also features a variety of solo episodes where I discuss personal experiences and anecdotes in a very candid fashion, covering everything from mental health, spirituality, philosophy, and even paranormal experiences. This is the Iblis Manifestations Podcast. To support it, be sure to subscribe to the channel and visit the link in the descriptions.
It's great talking to you, Cheyenne, really. And best of luck to your endeavors for this podcast. I think it's a great initiative.
You're my favorite person to talk to for interviews and stuff. So I love what you're espousing out here. I love the knowledge and the perspectives that you're curating through this, and I'm just so honored to be a part of it. Thank you.
As I told you, it was one of the most interesting interviews I've ever had, because we talk a lot more things than just music, and I really appreciated that.
I respect you deeply, and it's an honor to be here.
And friends, remember as always, better to die on your feet than to live on your knees. Enjoy the podcast.
We got it.
Okay, so I've got the absolute privilege of being joined by the great and powerful Mr. Demolition Man. Tony, how are you doing, sir? You okay?
Hey, thank you for having me. I feel great, and considering everything, and it's good to talk to you. It's good to see you.
Yeah, man. No, it's absolutely my pleasure. So when we were hanging out at Bloodstock backstage, I had the privilege to have a really nice chat there, and you very kindly took the time, and I found it quite inspiring, like when we walked away, I was talking to my friend Kieran, who was with me that day.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this Tony guy, his energy is just fucking unbelievable, just absolutely off the charts.
For his age, for an old guy.
I don't know what your age is. You could say anything and I'd believe it, man. And I was like, you know what? If I wanted to fucking take over a city, you're the kind of guy I would want to have right next to me. He's doing that.
Baby.
So, hell yeah,
baby.
let's fucking go.
I'm ready when you are. Yeah. We'll do our
Amazing.
training first, maybe have our breakfast, and then we'll invade somewhere. Why not?
Amazing. Yeah, there you go. We've got a plan sorted already. You were saying you've already been training today?
Yeah. This morning, I get, as you get older, for those of you who are getting older, you tend to have less sleep. But the big thing about training is, sleep's really important. But when you get to a certain age, you sleep in nap doses. I always put a show on in the afternoon because I know I'm going to fall asleep. So I might as well put some shit I'm not going to watch, and then off I go. But yeah, so I train like about 5:30 a.m. every day. I'm in there. That wakes me up, gets me ready. And when I come out, everybody's just getting up. So it feels like I can be productive all day, because I'm a bit of a workaholic, so I do like 24/7, 7 days a week, 365. I'm never off the go, you know. So to my downfall sometimes, but I got to keep my energy up. So if I get my training in, feel good, I'm ready to go, and then by the end of the day, if I'm fucked, at least I had a good run at the whole day.
That's great, man. I mean, I've that you're preaching to the choir, you know. I'm actually recently upgraded to the morning sessions as well, and I think
Brilliant.
there's just something about waking up early, like even though it sucks, because you know it's for a good reason, it's for a good cause. Like sometimes people say, "Oh, I don't have motivation. Oh, I can't believe you have motivation to do that." Fuck motivation.
Yeah.
I don't have motivation to do anything. It's discipline.
No.
Yeah, it's an
discipline.
appointment.
That's the key. It's the discipline. It's like, you know, nobody wants, when it's fucking freezing, it's fucking, we live in England, when it's fucking freezing and the wind's going and the rain's pulling at your face, the last thing you want to do is to get out of bed and to walk to the gym, or as I'm fortunate, it's just around the corner. But 10 minutes in there, it doesn't matter what was happening. You know, 10 minutes in there, everything's working, you're just focused, you're just doing it. When you come out, it could be fucking, you know, it could be a fucking hurricane. You don't give a shit. You feel amazing. You're ready. You're full of your energy, and you've done it. You've done it now.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it again. And it's outside your work day. It's outside all of your stuff. So, you know, it's give you a good kick in. You know, the best stuff is then the eating and the sleeping and the rest of the shit that comes after. But you know, yeah, I've tried it afternoons sometimes and evenings, but the gyms get rammed around those cluster times. So it just, I go in the morning, I see the regular 5 or 6 people. I can get on every machine. I can get on every free weight. There's no hassle. I have to listen to their music, which is the only downfall. They're not playing the music I want, but whatever. You get your focus and you get your game in, and that's important.
Do you go to like a corporate gym or something?
No, there are a couple of corporate gyms, and there's an actual professional bodybuilder gym called Pumping Iron not far from me, which when I was really training and pushing weights or trying to shape or cut down for the tours and stuff to shred, then I'd go there because, you know, they're all competition. So then I'd get the best help and advice and spotting. But the gym around the corner from me, Giants Gym, I've been going since they opened it, and it's got everything I need. I know the people. It's a father and son run business. They're Greek. It's fantastic, you know, so it's a good motivational thing, you know, and nice people and a great gym. It's got everything I could possibly need, and I can get there and it's quiet, so I can hit everything. So it's perfect.
That's amazing, man. I love to hear that. You know, I think something that a lot of people, those who train regularly will already know this, but to those who maybe sort of partake in it or maybe aren't as much into it, or those who aren't into it at all, I think that there's like a bit of a thread here you can see, you know, and it's that really positive attitude. And I think that why is it important to kind of get that struggle out of the way, especially earlier on in your day, and then when that becomes a recurring thing, it's an extremely powerful thing. It's because, you know, being a positive person, which I absolutely clearly see that you are one, that doesn't mean that you don't deal with bullshit or that you don't have it, but the fact that you start your day every day by overcoming yourself and applying yourself to probably the most difficult thing that you can do, that prepares you for pretty much anything.
That's
right?
absolutely it. That's absolutely 100%. You know, I spoke to some conversation with John Dett about that, you know, the drummer who trains like a maniac, and I love him to death. You know, and you look at Alan Hungerford and Vicky, you know, who books.
She's great. Vicky, I respect Vicky a lot.
Adam, of course, you know, we talk about that with the heavy lifting club, you know, and I mean, you know, the amount of stress you're under, but that kind of takes you away. You can't think about anything else when you're training. It's just you against it. And so that's where your strength goes. That's where your focus. And, you know, if you're lying on a bench and you got 360 pounds just about to come down and you got to put it back up and there's just you there, no spotter, that takes everything you got to focus and get that thing up there safely. Nothing in your day is going to be as hard as that. Nothing in your day is going to be as hard as that. So if you can do that, you can do anything. You can do anything. And it gives you, like you say, that vitalization for your mind, for your spirit, for your body, to go, if I can trudge through the snow, remember Dorian Yates, if you listen to the Dorian Yates studio when he had Temple Gym, it was fucking smelled like rat's piss. It was in a fucking flooded basement. He had to walk there. Sometimes the snow was up to his waist, but he went there and look what he achieved. So because if you can do that with that discipline, you can apply discipline to anything, and it keeps you positive. It keeps you going positive. Each moment is important. And so, what happened right now is really important. What happened 2 minutes ago, I can't change. It happened. What happened last week has happened. What happened yesterday has happened. I can only change the moment I'm in. The decision I make now changes the next moment that's coming. I can't change next week. I can't change next month. I can't change the next hour or tomorrow. But I can change each decision I make now. And that's what you apply in the gym. Can I put this where I need to put it? Can I lift this because I want to lift it 10 times, 12 times, once? If it's, you're going for a max. And the only thing between you doing it and not doing it is you. So believe you can do it, and you can do it. Maybe not today. So do it tomorrow. Maybe not tomorrow. Your next session, the next month. Keep it as your target. Always have your target and always go for your target. And you'll be surprised at what you can achieve. You'll be surprised in yourself.
And you would be surprised at how much of your own limitations are things which you've placed upon yourself.
Absolutely, 100%. The only thing between you and it is you. So shake it off. People will always offer their advice, going, why are you doing that? You shouldn't do that. You can't do that. You can't do this. You're not able to do that. How come you could do that? I couldn't do that. Yeah, that's the thing. They put the limitations on themselves and then they project that onto you. But I'm not you. I'm me.
Yeah.
And if your attitude is like, well, I can't jump out of that airplane at 10,000 feet, maybe I go, well, I'm shitting my pants, but I'm going to. And you find that you can, but they couldn't. And it's that same kind of thing. You never know. Life's a risk. So like a 10,000 foot parachute jump, skydive, right? You can nothing can open and you can hit the ground. It's all over. But what an amazing trip it was down. Or you could do it, land it successfully and want to do it again. But jump. You don't know what it's going to feel like unless you jump. And if you hit the ground safely, obviously, if you hit the ground safely, the next time they go, let's do it again, you could go, you must be fucking kidding, not on your fucking life, I'm not doing that ever again. But you did it. But you might find yourself going, oh my God, now I'm addicted to it, and you do it every weekend. But you'll never know unless you jump. And that's the same for everything in life. Unless you test yourself, you will never know what you can do. So keep testing yourself, keep pushing yourself. And that doesn't have to be, getting up in a snowstorm to go to a gym at 5 o'clock in the morning or lifting heavy weights or anything else. It could apply to going to the office, achieving your goal for the day, changing your job, making music, doing a painting, creating a sculpture, whatever it is. You're the only thing standing in your way. So do the course that you thought, you might not be good at. Try it. You might find that you're amazing at it. So, but you only do it by doing.
Absolutely, yeah. Acta non verba is one of my favorites.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's really important to kind of empathize on that because I think that one thing that I kind of noticed, I don't know if you've done it much before, but in the last sort of year and a half since March last year, 2023, I've been regularly doing cold exposure. Okay, that's like, if you have like an ice bath in the morning or even a cold shower, and timing it, making sure that I don't fucking escape just because my brain tells me to. And one thing that I found about that, and this is why, people look at training as and weightlifting or doing physically difficult and challenging things as if it's some kind of like a vain thing that, it's only about your body. But actually, you'll be surprised at how much of a profound impact it can actually have on the rest of your life, and especially your mentality and even spirituality, if you want to even go down that route. If that's your
thing, absolutely.
That's definitely been the case for me. One thing that I noticed is that when I first started the cold exposures, I I would sit around for like 10, 15 minutes just anticipating just getting in the water.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
And then obviously I kept doing it. I kept showing up. And then that was like that time I was just kind of like I was almost bored of waiting around. Like the waiting around felt worse than actually doing it. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what that made me realize? I was like, well, in what other fucking areas of my life am I behaving in the same way where I'm just procrastinating?
Yourself. Yeah,
exactly. And I'm just like holding myself back in anticipation of something that's going to happen. What if I just keep doing and doing? So as a result of doing those cold exposures, that's actually changed my mentality towards life, because now I'm like, if I need to do something, if I need to say something, if I need to stand up to something, I'm going to fucking do it. Yes. I'm not going to wait for the time to come. Tomorrow never comes.
Exactly. You know? And as you've proven to yourself, and you just underlined it there, the conclusion of you doing it is never worse than you anticipating it. Absolutely. You know what I mean? That thing that happens, because if you then confront something or then you deal with it head on, you are moving it along. Whereas you can spend years worrying with anxiety about confronting it, about what might happen if you did, about what's going to happen, what probably will happen. You know, it's one of the things I used to say to my daughter when I go, you're going to do X, Y, Z, and she go, yeah, but they'll probably, or I say, never use those descriptive words. You go, probably, perhaps, maybe. I said, that's all fantasy you're creating as a result of what's going to happen. I said, you don't know until it happens. And what happens is once you instigate it, you deal with it as it comes along. And what you're just describing with the ice bath stuff, ask Simon Hall from Bloodstock, he's an expert on that now. But and it's done wonders for him. But when you're describing that, it's what we call pool syndrome. It's where you go, I want to go to the pool, and you go and you stand on the edge, you dip your foot in, and it feels cold, and then it takes you 15 minutes to get in. And you get in so slowly. And then what does everybody say? Once you're in, you go, oh, it's not so bad once you're in. Of course it's not. Yeah. Your body heat.
I mean, it is pretty fucked up when you're in there. It's horrible, but it's worth it.
Yeah. But bad in a good way. Let's get more people to do it. It's bad, but in a good way. But certainly when you come out, you feel liberating. You feel like, it's amazing. It's incredible. And so, you know, I learned through my years to do exactly what you just described. You know, if the plane door opens, I didn't stand on the edge thinking, wow, that's a long way down. And funnily enough, if you're jumping out of an airplane, the higher you go, the easier it gets, which sounds mad. But if you're at a lower level, when you look at the ground, 1,000 feet, 1,200, 1,500, you're looking down. The ground looks like you could hit it, but when you're at 5,000 or 10,000 feet, it's so far away, it could be anything. It could be a fucking cotton ball. So you just fly. And it's the same thing with the pool. You know, if I go out to the pool, I don't think about it. I just go straight out, straight in. It's all over in seconds and I'm off, you know, and that's the kind of mentality I use with everything, you know, with those challenges. Just go, you know, and even when you're challenging on new challenges, you know, you can always try something, and if you're no good at it, then you go, yeah, that's not for me. I'm not so good at it. Now I have a choice. Do I get better at it, training, or do I just go, yeah, I didn't really enjoy that? So you always have a choice. But if you don't try it, how do you know if you didn't like it? You know, it's the same thing with eating something, isn't it? What is that? I don't know. Or what is it made from? Who knows? Well, it looks, so try it. It tastes good. You know, I remember having several things like describing cactus or palm heart to people. And it's like, what does it taste like? I go, I've got no idea. Because normally when you eat something, you go, tastes like chicken, tastes like pork, tastes like a banana. But when you eat that shit, it's like, it's just texture. There's nothing to compare it to. So when people go, do you like it? I was going, I've got no idea. I'll certainly eat it, but it doesn't taste anything I can relate to, so I don't know if I don't like it or I do like it. It doesn't taste like shit and it doesn't taste like chicken. I guess it's okay, you know. So again, you know, just give yourself that experience. We're not here for very long. It's a very small planet. There's some incredible cultures, impossible cuisines, foods that you never dreamt you would put in your mouth that could work, and you haven't had half or a quarter of the food that's the most amazing food that would become your favorite dishes. You haven't heard that music, that just speaks to your soul yet. So get out there, experience it all, and you start getting a library together of things. Go, I fucking love it there. I absolutely love that shit. I love that dish. I love eating that. I love singing that. I love smelling that. So that's my experience of life, and it's why I love what I do. I'm very fortunate. I get to travel everywhere because I want to meet everybody. I want to eat everything. I want to smell everything, and I want to see everything. Long may that
That's
last,
beautiful. Yeah, that's absolutely beautiful, man. I love hearing that, and I have to say that I think the thing that we also got to understand as well is that obviously there's a lot of people in today's world, especially I think the younger generation, maybe they're completely fucked right now. And, I'm seeing that more and more. And I think as well that I think it's beautiful to have that open-minded approach to life and to try all these different things. But I also think that, so the thing that we're sort of like not discussing here is that you also kind of have to earn your experiences in life.
Yes.
And sometimes as well, things might not go your way, or you might, eat a shit sandwich every now and then, and that's okay too. I think it's important to embrace that as a part of it too. I think one issue that we have, so you and I think we're kind of like, we're very much on the level where we understand that these things that are inherently maybe difficult are actually great for you, and then, as a result of that, I think it's so much easier to let the passion and the love for life flow through you because you level with the difficulties. But I think for a lot of people, they just expect things to be comfortable. Their vision of life is that holding a cocktail on the beach and not having to do anything kind of thing, And I think that's just such a distorted view of existing as a human being. And it's a real, I think it's actually a disservice to what we are all, each and every one of us are capable of, really. Yeah, I think we can do so much more than just that.
We were talking about that not so long ago at a high school, and it was predominantly the boys. So what do you want to do after school? I want to be a businessman. And I went, oh, cool. Like what kind of business? Well, what kind of business? A businessman. I went, yeah, but can you describe it? He went, like wear a suit, BMW, have my own briefcase. I was like, what, just a businessman? Yeah, that's what I want to be, make money. But you don't know what you're going to be doing. I'm going to be in business, aren't I? It's like, okay, like what the fuck? But again, an idealistic view, I've seen that image and I want to be that. But what do I have to do to get that? Well, I don't want to do all that shit. I don't want to do that to get there. But, I always say to them, listen, it's like a car. You get your favorite car. Now, you bought your favorite car. This is great. You spunked all your money on it. Great. The tire goes down. What do? Put a new tire on? Oh, you fix it. Yeah, okay. Right, now the fucking radiator's gone. What are you going to do? I don't know, take it to a garage. What are they going to do? Fix it? Exactly, yeah. So, the thing is, it's your favorite car. It's the one you always wanted, but it's not going to last forever. But every time something goes wrong, you can fix it. You learn to fix it. So if they go, you shouldn't put this fuel in your car, what do? Do you just put the fuel they tell you or any fucking shit you want? No, you only put the fuel in the car that they tell you makes the engine work better. So the engine has more life. So you're learning to go, right, if I do this, it doesn't work. I need to do this to make it work. If I do this, I can fix it. If I do this, I can't fix it. I need to get someone else to help me to fix it. So again, just using that analogy, you're always learning, you're always fixing it. But the effort has to be put in. You have to take it to the garage. You have to maintain it. You have to care about it. When that knocking noise goes on, you have to go, what is that? So find out what it is and see if you can fix it, and if you can't fix it, get someone to fix it for you. So use that as your progressive nature. And yes, you can have the cocktails on the beach, and yes, you're going to be a businessman, but you got to do something to get there. And so when you work hard to end up getting there, that is going to be so much sweeter. A cocktail on a beach is going to feel like amazing when you've done the shit, you've done your work, and you've earned it. And unfortunately, I think because of social media, and because of the way it's promoted sometimes. My daughter once said at a younger age, when she was unhappy and going, well, all my friends, everybody seems to be having a great time and I'm just not. And I said, what do you mean? She went, well, if I look on their social media, everybody's having a great time. I said, but there's nobody on social media who looks like they're not having a great time. I said, but then that's what they want to promote, because maybe they're not, but they want to promote that they are, because they want to get likes and they want to feel important, want to feel recognized, they want to feel like they are somebody. And it's one thing I tell rock kids who feel, they're Mayhem's their favorite band, or Satyricon or Septic Flesh, and they live in a place where everybody in the village or the town thinks that they're fucking lunatics doing drugs because of the way they dress and the kind of crap they listen to. And I said, but you're not. There's nothing wrong with you. And if you go to Wacken, you got another 100, 200, 300, 500,000 people who are exactly like you, who come from exactly the same place as you. That's your brethren. Those are your people. And so just find them. They're out there waiting for you, and they feel the same way as you. They love the same things as you. That's your community. But don't think there's anything wrong with you. But that's another thing. It's just this. This is who I am. This is what I do. This is how I project myself. But it's not reality. And so when those kids want to be on the beach with a cocktail, they think I can just do that. I could be an influencer on Instagram. This is what I bought today: a pair of socks. Bang, $10. Brilliant. I'm making like $1,500 a month, showing people what I bought at Primark. It's like, okay, and then I'm going to be rich. And it's like, well, maybe your focus shouldn't be on monetary value. I just heard today someone talking about a tour. Oh, this band, they didn't tour because they said it's very expensive to go to America. I said, it is. Well, of course it is. I said, if you haven't got 65 grand to spend on a tour bus, and that's at the cheap end, I said, then there's all your flights, then there's your visa cost. And I just got back from the American embassy yesterday. It cost me 10 grand in total to get all visas. And then I've hired the bus, which is going to be like 60 grand. And then, so by the time you go out there, if your budget is only going to make it even, then that's what. But does that stop me going? Well, no. Would I not play a club that holds 200 people, as someone had pointed out, a club with 200 people? It's like, I wouldn't play to 200 people in a club in Iowa because they're fans of the band, because I don't like the fact there's only 200 people. I'd rather go past them, leave them with our records and our merchandise and all their loyalty, and play somewhere that has 1,000 people. It's like, no, of course I fucking wouldn't. If there was one guy there with his dog and he'd been a fan since day one, he deserves the same concert. If he can't get there, of course he does. And so that's the ethos I use. People are important. Things are great. Places are amazing. But people are the important thing. And when you come to music and that, the art side, it's like they're the only thing. With our music, it's like, the analogy is, say, you have bands that, you want your friends to come to your show. You're playing a local, you want your friends to come. We're playing the youth club, so you ask all your friends, then they all come, and then now you're going to play a pub with another band. So you want your friends to ask their friends, and then you want to get a following, and then you end up, 2 years in with a following in your local area, and then you manage to get a couple of other shows in some other area, and you build it. And these people are so important, and can you help me and sell tickets and pass this along and post on your pages? And all of a sudden I'm walking into the Hilton in Chicago outside the Allstate Arena, and someone comes up and goes, can I get an autograph again? You must be fucking joking, man. I'm fucking tired. Oh, right. So it's okay while I'm nobody, while I need you. But as soon as I think I don't need you, I can't be bothered with you anymore. I'm taking your money, though. Please give me all your money and buy my merch and my records and pay your ticket, but don't bother me. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. It's like I'm the same person I was, and so is that person. And when you get to points like that as well, it's like you're tired, you're fucking knackered, you haven't eaten, you haven't slept, you just played the show, you just want to go and get washed, the bus is leaving in 2 seconds, everybody's hassling you, you're still got to go and pick your socks up and your bass guitar or whatever it is, and one person goes, can I just get a photo? I just want to tell you, right, the minute they say that, it's like, because I have to stand there and listen to them. Even though people are going, we got to go. It's like, just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. Because for me, this is one person out of 1 billion people on the planet who love music and want to tell their story to someone. But for this person, what if it's the only opportunity they ever get to tell you how much what you did means to them, and I'm going to spunk them off so I can sit on a tour bus and drive 50 miles to somewhere else because it's going to take 10 minutes to listen to their story. It's like, fuck off. I can't do that because I'm also a fan of music. And if my heroes, if I'd sat down with Lemmy and went, Lemmy, can I just tell you what it fucking meant to me the first time I heard you? Went, why don't you go fuck yourself and get out my dressing room and don't come back? I'd be like, okay, I'll just keep it to myself. It means something to me. You know, so that would mean everything.
I mean, if Lemmy said that, it would still kind of be cool, but yeah, sure. I understand your point.
I'd still get it tattooed on my chest, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that kind of thing, you know, it takes 2 minutes to take a photograph. It takes 2 seconds to sign something, and it takes 10 minutes to listen to someone's story, and they get to, you know, give you that story. You get to give them a hug and go, mate, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time, and that's it. It's simple. So yeah, but all of those things we're talking about, just to go back to what you were saying about the young people today, is those are all experiences that we had, and all experiences that I'm trying to maintain, which is why I do the way I do it. And I'll mingle around and I'll go and see, because someone might not be able to buy a meet and greet, or someone might not be a bit nervous about things. So I'll be through the crowd. So all someone has to do is to grab me arm and I'm right there. And then I'm listening to them, because I want those young people to come to shows, realize what we loved about the music was that live energy, that togetherness, that care, and the beauty of that experience. And then to be able to talk to someone that you may admire or you come to see, and they talk to you like they've known you all their life. You know, that's heartwarming. You've been recognized. I see you. You do exist, and I'm glad you exist. You know, and you know, a lot of the young kids feel they don't exist in a worthwhile way because nobody's taking any notice of them. But that's how you get punk rock. That's how you get extreme music. We stood up and screamed our tits off, the same as the Sex Pistols did, or that whole punk scene did, you know, and Elvis did, and the Beatles did, and that's what youth culture does, you know. So we need to keep inspiring the youth to go, I know you're on your phone, I know you're on social media, there's a load of twats on there, there's a lot of good stuff on there as well, but don't just stay there. If it's doing your head in, just get out, breathe the air, give yourself some liberty, and just come and scream your tits off with us, because we're still there screaming for you.
Fuck yeah, man. It's such a beautiful mindset. Let me I don't know if you've seen this behind me right here.
I have seen that behind you. I was watching that all the time. Yeah, true, really black metal.
So, thank you. So you know that you're talking about, you mentioned those young kids, you know, if they listen to like Mayhem or Septic Flesh or whatever, you mentioned some of those bands. Obviously, you know, my background is I grew up in Tehran, Iran, and we were amongst actually fewer bands who played actual underground shows there. I mean, there's the story of like the first gig we played there where they set the school on fire, you know, and
I mean, that's serious. That's serious business there.
Yeah, it is. So, you know, the thing that I will also say is that, you know, you were talking about business, being an entrepreneur, or just being a musician, or just being a fucking person, you know, and feeling heard and understood, you know, or if not understood, at least accepted in a way, you know.
Yes.
And the thing that I say to that is that A, you gotta want to be able to take risks for really the path that you want to take.
Yeah.
And B, you want to be able to be radical about your passions. And about your direction in life, you know. Now, what do I mean by that is, you know, so for us, all we wanted to do was just listen to metal, listen to black metal, you know, and obviously we were still getting bootleg copies, you know, or we would sometimes like bribe someone to go download at higher internet speed because ours was like 3 kilobytes per second, fucking shitty dial up, you know. I used to sometimes stay up all night, you know, just like fucking downloading like the new like Mayhem or whatever album, you know, and And the thing with that is that you have to understand that, you know, for us, it was a case of if you're a metalhead over there, you could just get arrested.
Yes.
You can get fucked. And if for whatever reason that they can actually prove you're either a Satanist or have like satanic ideologies, which all of our fucking favorite bands did, you know.
Of course, yeah. Of course.
If you can put that stamp on it, then that's essentially a death sentence, because it's an Islamic state. It's an Islamic-run society, you know. And people don't want to talk about it. They're scared of talking about it. But I'm like, no, it's good for us to talk about it, because it's a healthy thing. You know,
Absolutely.
these are the set of laws and rules that come with this particular religion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some people like to be politically correct and say, "Oh, all religions are bad." Yeah, sure, okay. If you want to say that, that's fine. But
they all have their indiscrepancies, and they all have their ways of working, and that is that regime's working.
Precisely. And, you know, to us, it was a case of, well, we want to listen to metal. Okay, we could get arrested. We could maybe even get killed for it. Okay, well, fuck it anyway. We may as well just play this music, and we may as well be more radical in our enjoyment of this music, you know?
Yeah.
And I was someone who's very lucky that I got to obviously not actually get completely arrested or jailed or fucked up over there. I got the chance after some years to move over to the UK. Bloodstock was actually the first festival I ever went to. I went to in 2012 with like Behemoth and Watain on the same day. It was mental for me. And you know, and the thing is that, you know, I always try and sort of champion those values and say that even though I'm here, you know, I actually just got my British citizenship today, funnily enough.
Oh, well done. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, I rewarded myself by going and doing a shoulders and arm session afterwards.
But
you know, and then obviously now I've got the privilege to speak to you this evening right after that. And you know, to me, it's you know, you only got one chance at this. You only got one shot at this life. You know, so
that's it.
Sometimes you just gotta fucking go for it, man.
Yes, and again, I mean, not leaving out the fact of your brevity and the other guys as well, because that's incredibly brave to be doing something, and it is serious, and people should know that is what he's just said is fucking real. You know, we played Turkey, might have been Kushadasi, or no, it wasn't. I can't remember the name of where we played. They'll kill me from it. Izmir. And I have a tattoo. We did a thing in Izmir. And a guy was there backstage, came backstage, had a beautiful purple velvet box with these amazing metal trinkets in for us. And he was from Iran. And I said, "Oh my God, you live in Turkey." But no, I managed to get here. I've got to go back. And he said, and I may get arrested. And if I get arrested, I may go to prison, and it may be real bad. And I was like, fucking hell, man, what are you taking a risk? He went, it's worth it. It's worth it. And I was like, wow. And he did go back. He did get arrested. He's just come back out again. I think he did a couple of years. But there he is. Sent me a picture with his vest on in his head, just going, fuck yeah. And I'm like, wow, that is like,
that's cool.
You know, that's the meaning of it all. It's like, it's music, and in a way, yes, it's against whatever the religious protocols or a particular place, but for him, that was singing to him. That was his spiritual connection to life. That gave him the reason to breathe, the reason to get up, the reason to stay up for, like you just said, fucking 48 hours trying to download 6 songs on a fucking speed that blips. And you know, whether you get the recording jump, it doesn't matter. You know, in the old days, we traded in tapes, you know, and so that's the tapes. They didn't last forever. And I remember playing Poland in tour with Poland with Nasty Savage and Exuma, Germany, Exuma, with Amcraft in 1988, and it was still, the Berlin Wall was still up. And we turned up at the Spodek Stadium, and it holds something like 25,000 people. And then, you know, when we turned up, there was like 3,000 or 4,000 people outside, and it was fucking massive. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Yeah. And all these people who've got tickets to go in, they went, no, it's full inside. They were outside. I was like, it's full. And when we walked on stage, I thought, right, okay, this is full. It's going to be a barn door. We're going to have loads of fun, because there've been bands on all day, Polish bands, who I'm still friends with, most of them now, because they were all grown up.
That's cool.
But, and some of them are still going, which is amazing. And I thought, you know, but they're not going to know it's from fucking the UK, and they're from Germany, and they don't get records in here because it's Russia. We walked on stage and there was fucking Union Jacks everywhere, and they were singing all the songs. I'm like, how the fuck did you get them? But you just described how they got them. And that's the thing with music in particular. Lots of things, of course, but with music in particular, you can't stop me getting it if I want it. And I need to have it, because that's part of who I am. And when I've got it, I feel good. And when I feel good, I feel empowered. And much like we said about coming out of the gym, it's exactly how you felt after you'd got that music, listened to that music, and walked around the city. The consequences are the consequences. I'll deal with them as they come. But I need to have this first. I need to have this. And if it's a challenge, then it's a challenge. I'll rise to it. And then I'll deal with whatever comes next. And I have total admiration for you for that. Total, utter admiration. Amazing story. Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for the kind words. I really appreciate that, especially coming from someone like yourself, man. That's fucking awesome. And I think the thing with it as well is that partaking in this particular style of music, as you put it so eloquently there, I think it's just, there's like an emotional capacity that comes with it that's just not like anything else that exists in our world, as far as I'm concerned anyway. It's just like there's this real depth to it. Yeah, it's noisy. Yeah, it's loud. Yeah, it's rude. Yeah, it's in your face. I've paraphrased this many times on this show, but I had the honor of having Mr. Tom G. Warrior,
a dear friend, yeah,
the OG. I had him on the podcast earlier this year, and he said this sentence in that podcast that just like keeps coming back to my brain. And he said that heavy metal is originally an attitude, and I think that's fucking spot on, because it's that attitude that it's loud, it's crude, it's in your face, it doesn't give a fuck, but ultimately I think it can just unlock you. It can unlock this like new layer of perspective that you can just live life, and you can see so much more, you can feel so much more.
Completely.
And I think I will forever be in debt to heavy metal.
I mean, but that's the real attitude, what we learned. And also what I tell people, I used to go on stage and say, there's one rule tonight, there's no fucking rules. Because, when you're in the zone, when you're in the middle of that, you don't give a shit where you parked your car. I don't remember. I went, during Motorhead of playing Overkill, I didn't think like, oh, I must call that bitch in the morning because she said this to me. Or like, where did I park the car? I wonder if I fed my cat. Did I leave the gas? I fucking didn't leave the gas on. I didn't think about any of that. What time do I got to go to work? I was in there just losing my shit. And that's the nature of the beast, and when people talk about freedom, but here it's free and there it's free and here's the freedom, it's the most, the only true freedom is when you're in that place and the music is wailing and it's your favorite song by your favorite band and you're lost. You're lost. That is pure, utter freedom. You're elevating yourself to the next level because everything in your body is moving. Every atom in your soul is alive. Your mind is somewhere else. You feel the whole power of the people around you, the energy from stage, the energy off stage. There's just that moment. It's so pure. And it's like, that's when you release yourself. The guy next to you or the girl next to you or the them or they next to you don't give a fuck whether you've got a fucking camel pierce through your nose or whether you've got no pants on or whether you're shitting yourself or whether nobody gives a shit what you look like. You're all in it together. And that's the beauty. That's the humanity. That's where we should be. It's like, I don't know what you ate for breakfast. I don't give a fuck where you work. I don't know if you worship a god. I don't know if you go to church or don't go to church. I don't know what language you speak. I don't know whether you're good at maths or not. And I don't give two fucks. Let's just put our arms around each other and sing the shit out of this song and then lose ourselves somewhere. And that's the beauty. When you can go to China and you can play Beijing and you can sing Countess Battery or whatever it is, and they all sing along, and then I can't even ask them where the toilet is because nobody can speak English and I can't speak Mandarin. That's when you know you win. The music's gone beyond that. The music communicates far beyond language, far beyond religion, far beyond any politics. It speaks directly to your soul. And there's those of us who feel that and go, I need to do that. Why do you need to do that? You need to not eat, not sleep, put up with fucking being threatened to die, like trying to put all your gear in a car that doesn't fit and driving 500 miles to play to 3 people in a fucking pub. Yes, I need to do that. Why? I don't know. I just do. And when I've done it, I feel great about being alive. And that's what continues us on. We all want to walk into a fucking stadium like Metallica, have everybody do everything for us and have all of the lights and the sound and all of that glory. But, that's success. That's the money success that helps to do that. But those boys are still the same boys they were. Okay, they may be successful, but they're the same boys they were. The same thing with Iron Maiden. You won't meet anybody more down to earth than those guys, but look at what they can do. So, of course, they enjoy that, and they can do that. And why wouldn't you want to do that? You'd want to do that. I want to do that. But that doesn't stop me from playing a shitty club in the middle of nowhere with a toilet for a fucking dressing room, with half the toilet missing, and, you know, the food that's from the local Subway, and it's like, whatever, you know, because all of that shit doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how long it took me to get there. It doesn't matter what the journey was like. It doesn't matter whether we had to fix a microphone stand or the amp doesn't work, so I'm going through some other shit. What happens is that hour and a half or 2 hours of the show, that's the only thing that matters to any of us. And that's where the beauty comes in. The rest is just stuff. People, not things, people. That's if you can communicate that. And, you know, I used to say is when of course, I come from a Roman Catholic background, and when we were doing what we were doing in extreme metal, you know, not just Venom, but all of us doing that kind of thing in the Northeast, which is very Roman Catholic, very conservative, they all thought we were fucking mental. And I said, you know what? I've been going to church for most of my early life, forced to go to church, bored, fucking, you know, just hungry, just going, what the fuck, while someone's just droning on from excerpts from a Bible and going, I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about. It doesn't, you know, it's just so boring. And everybody came out of church. Well, it's elevating, isn't it? Because you're talking to God, because you're liberating your soul. You're in the house of God. I mean, and they're giving you all this wonderful, wonderful thing about your spirit and the nature of life and beyond, and why we're here, and the sacrifices that are made for us to enjoy and exist. But nobody comes out there smiling. I go into a napalm death. Everybody's kicking the fuck out of each other, and everybody's happy at the end of it. It's like, okay, but that's good and that's bad. I don't think so. I don't think so. Someone's fibbing, you know.
Sure. For
Liberating the soul is happiness, and our music liberates your soul, like you said, and Tom underlined. You know, it's freedom. You can say what you want, you can sing how you want, you can play how you want, and someone somewhere is connecting to that, and it's liberating them, and that's what you're doing.
Absolutely. And I think a part of where that comes in, fucking beautifully put, man. You know, earlier when I said that you're the kind of guy I want to have next to me if I'm taking over a town, this is why I said it. This is exactly why. Now everyone knows. But
Thank you.
You know, just coming back to it, I think there's this thing as well. We have to understand who we are and where we come from as well. You know, it's not that long ago that we were fucking shoving spears up each other's asses, you know, and taking over cities and, you know, just like pillaging and destroying. And, you know, we're a primitive species that's been through a lot. We've also been through a lot of fucking trauma as well. We've had to survive in nature. We've been through the most horrible of things. You know, I was talking to my good friend Kyle from the death metal band Vitriol from the US last night, and a great band. And I was talking to him, and you know, we were sort of talking about just the general ancestry of human beings and how violent our background is, you know, and the fact that pretty much if you think of what our DNA even is, our DNA carries memory from our past. You might not think about it and remember it, but it's
primal,
stuff that's
primal brain,
It's a primal thing that's already instilled in you. And, you know, like, for example, look at how a mother would react if her child was in danger or was threatened by someone. And they would turn into a fucking murder machine.
The Hulk. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And that's that ancient primal DNA. And I think that in modern society, we don't get enough room to exercise those muscles. And I think that... you know, stuff like the gym, maybe, not maybe, definitely, but I think that, you know, things like that, but heavy metal especially, I think is such a good way to exercise that muscle, to just kind of get that negative shit out of your system.
That's exactly it. You've hit the nail on the fucking head. You know, the whole point of primeval. That's why I wrote primeval. You know, it's in the nature of us. You know, and I would go to, you know, during the punk days, I'd go and see every fucking punk show I could see. And, you know, I like, you know, 14, 15, there'd be guys there in their 20s, skinheads. You know, I'd come out there. I'm only 5'7", 5'8". So I'd go, you know, I'd say 5'8". I'm not 5'7", but nearly 5'8". Oh, you could say 6 foot, but I'd go into there. These would be these huge skinhead guys would kick the living shit out of me at these punk shows, and I lost my mind, and I'd be nutting the fucking audio system, and I'd have like blood, and I just was like, man, it was so. I got everything out. I never stole from anybody. I never hit anybody. I never nicked anything from it. I never beat anybody up just because. I never, I didn't abuse anybody, because all my ish, all my shit, all my anger from my childhood was all put out in there. I was naked. I just wanted to go to sleep with a smile on my face. And I would go and meet my old man, they'd split up. And if I'd been to a show on a Saturday, I'd go and see him on a Sunday for a couple of pints at his place, a pub or whatever. And if I had bruises or scratches, he'd be going, "You've been fucking fighting again, you. What am I telling you about fighting?" I'd go, "I've been to a concert." He'd be go, "Don't talk shit. What kind of fucking concert does that to your face?" And I go, "A punk concert." You go, "You're a fucking mental." I just didn't get it.
Yeah.
You didn't feel the bruises. You just felt that you'd let it all out. And it's exactly what you said. It is epiphanical. It's like an epiphany. You just like go, "Wow, that's it." And that's my outlet. And I could be in my room with my headphones on and it's cranked to 11 and it's pummeling, that immortal track is pummeling me to death, or, something, suicidal tendencies or whatever it is, whatever's your thing. And you just feel like great. So then your mom comes in or your pop comes in or whoever comes in and they give you a bit of hassle because you didn't fucking clean the dishes, and you're like, "Okay, no worries, yeah, I'll get to that." Instead of like, "What? Just fuck off and leave me alone." Which is, if you didn't have the outlet, that's what's building up all the time. We live in a society very varied in where it is, but we're always constrained by religion, by politics, by taxes, by, just shit. Every day we can't park there. You can't do this. You can't go in yet. You can't come out yet. You have to stand there. You have to pick that up. You can't put this here. Every day in our job, in our life, in our work, in our family, and you go to a show, and I just want to go, "For fuck's sake," okay? The minute they kick off, just say, "For fuck's sake," scream, get yourself in there, get it all out. When you go home, they go, "It's such a lovely lad. Isn't he such a lovely lad?" And then they go to a concert and go, "Who the fuck is that?" Because they say you just go,
Yeah, absolutely, man. How important do you think is the presence of a role model, especially for like someone who's younger? Like, did you have someone growing up that you kind of look up to and you were like, "Oh, you know what, I'm going to try and learn from them, or I'm going to be like that guy"? Do you have anyone?
Not in my personal life, I guess. Not in my personal life. Me and my father were quite estranged, and he was a big proponent of telling me I wasn't amounting to anything, and everything I did that I thought, "Oh wow, I've done that." I say, "Hey Dad," he'd go like, "Well, that's bollocks, isn't it?" Just put it all down. So I was like, "Oh fuck." But I, in the early 70s, when we'd moved to Canada, we were in New York, I think round about 73 or something like that, maybe 75. And I found a book in a bookshop. It was a paperback. It was Arnold Schwarzenegger's Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding, but it was the paperback version. I did get the other one, but it's a paperback version, just went in my pocket. It cost me about $3 or something, or $2. And it was my Bible. Whenever I felt whenever I felt it was impossible, I would read that and read what Arnold was saying and think, this is a kid who couldn't speak fucking English, has a wacky name, came all the way from Austria, took all those world titles and became Mr. Olympia in America at their own game. And I thought, wow, if he could do that with everything against him, oh my God. And then Rocky, the first Rocky film, I bought the movie script because I saw Rocky, and Stallone, who was a bit part actor, had wrote the script for Rocky, went to Hollywood. They were prepared to buy it for a very small amount of money, but they weren't going to cast him. They were like, "Well, nah, you first of all, you're a shit actor. We can't understand what you're saying. And Sylvester Stallone, what kind of name is that?" So they weren't going to go. And he refused to sell it to anybody unless he was cast as Rocky. Eventually, they put some money up, a very paltry amount of money for what happened, and look at the success of that. So those two stories, I don't know if the individuals so much, but maybe the individuals too, but those two stories of those individuals inspired me, and I thought, fuck it hell, that's 2 points where one achieved beyond anything you could imagine, and people thought it's impossible. You know, people in Graz were going to him, what? Yeah, it's never going to happen, mate. It's impossible. And the other thing was Stallone just not taking no for an answer. I thought, well, those are 2 points. When you look back now and go, man, Schwarzenegger was the governor of California as well.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? And, you know, he had Steve Reeves. Not only did he have Steve Reeves' poster on his wall, which he wanted to emulate from Hercules, but imagine he met Steve and trained with Steve. And Steve knows who he is. I mean, wow, you just go, we're only people. And that person that you admire, that hero that you have, is only another person. And if your goal is to meet them, to tell them, then that's what this is all about. Meet them, find your way, just go for it. You know, I did a few movies, and people said to me, how did you get into the acting? Totally by accident. I was working on a TV show. I was doing some unit production stuff and driving. And then they needed somebody to go on, and they said, Tony, you ever done the acting? I was like, pardon? And they went, you ever done the acting? I went, not really. They went, you couldn't do this for us. So what do you need? So on I go onto the TV show, and I'm like, what the fuck? And they came off. They went, that was brilliant. Thank you. I'm like, okay, never thought of it again. Then I found myself in India with the Royal Shakespeare Company on tour, and I turned up at the theatre. I'm one of the master carpenters on the show, so I build the set and, you know, do all the stuff for the show. It's a comedy of errors. I love Shakespeare, so I know it inside out. So I was quoting it every night. I'd heard it for like
amazing.
Just quoting the show. And I turned up at the show, and the stage management are outside looking very worried. And they said, we got a bit of a problem. I said, what's happening? Is the set okay? Yeah, not the set. No, one of the actors, they got sick. They're real sick. They can't do the show tonight. I was like, fuck, what are we going to do? I said, well, you know, it's India. Everybody loves Shakespeare. There's bound to be some Bollywood actor or something who you could get in and just do it for the gig. And they went, yeah, but we were thinking, we haven't got a lot of time. And you keep quoting the show all the time. I'm like, yeah. Oh, you want me to teach them? They went, no, but if you know it, why don't you do it? And I was like, hey, fucking hell, I've never, no. And they were like, come on, get the costume and do it. And my mind went, just do it. You don't know if you don't like it. So I did it. You know, a year later, I'm on the set of Judge Dredd with Sylvester Stallone and Armand Sandy. And that was after coming off first night with Richard Gere and Sean Connery. And then I'm flying to Hollywood to do one the next year. I'm like, what the fuck? So when people go, how did you do it? It just happened. You know, my mind said yes. Just say yes. If you're shit, you'll know soon enough. And you'll know if you don't like it. So again, just be inspired. Look for the opportunity. Seize the opportunity. Test yourself. And if you have that hero that inspires you, keep them close. And you know, it took me a long, many years to even speak to Lemmy, who was my inspiration for playing music, you know. The shock value of seeing him for the first time, I thought, I want to do that. And I saw everything that I could see with him doing, you know, but I couldn't bring myself to, what am I going to say? Oh, you're the reason I breathe. You know, it's like, oh, some fangirl thing, but I didn't need to, you know. And now when he died, I elevated my mic stand. You know, and I remember someone going like, oh, fucking, you're trying to be like Lemmy. I said, who can be Lemmy? Nobody can be Lemmy. I can't try and be Lemmy. Nobody's Lemmy. But what it means is I didn't want to lose him. I didn't want to lose that spirit. I didn't want to lose that thing that I loved so much. So when I walk on stage and I see the mic stand like that against the dark light, he's there with me. I know he's there with me. So he's still with me. Wherever he is in the wherever, but in my heart, he's still with me on stage. And so he's standing next to me while I'm doing it. And that means something to me. So that's why I do it. Not to emulate him, because nobody can, not to me anyway, but just to have him with me, you know, have him with me. And that's it. And that book from the Schwarzenegger book, I fucking must have carried around for about 30 years in my back pocket. You know, it smelled of, you know, finger juice, and it was all ripped and stuff, but I've still got it, you know, because it was my balloon, or it was my lifesaver, you know. Whenever I felt I can't, that's what I went to. And so, you know, keep that with you always, and let it inspire you. And reach out your hand. You know, the advantage of the internet, for all of its misdemeanors and all of its bad stuff, is that, you know, within a moment you can speak to someone anywhere on the planet and just go, can I just have a chat with you? And someone's going to go, yeah, what's up? Bang, use it to connect yourself.
This is fucking powerful stuff, man. And I think one very important component there that we can, I think, put together from everything that you've said is to overcome fear of failure.
Yes.
Because had you had that, you wouldn't have experienced any of what you just told us.
Nothing.
Yeah.
If you fear failing, it stops you. You prohibit yourself from even trying, you know. And if you try and you fail, that's okay. You learn from why did I fail, you know, and that doesn't mean you can't try again. If you don't want to try again, that's fair enough too. You change course. But, you know, failure doesn't mean you failed. Someone once said to me in an interview many years ago, after I'd done a couple of movies and some TV and some theatre, and they said, oh, you haven't been acting. I said, well, the music is my first love, and you get a better response from it. And I love the acting, but the waiting around and all the bullshit that goes around it is not kind of me. You know, I'm a bit more base than that, a bit more working class from the north. Whereas when I go and do my music, I liberate my soul, you know. So the other one's fun to do, but it just isn't who I am. But I did love it. And they said, you know, the whole process, you know, you weren't very successful. Is that one of the reasons? I said, who said I wasn't successful? And they went, well, yeah, but you only did a couple of movies in smaller parts. I went, yeah, but I didn't say I wanted to be Tom Cruise. I didn't set it out as my career to be Harrison Ford. I just took an opportunity to see if I liked it. And I said, if I'd wanted to become a millionaire, I'd be a millionaire. But you know what? I realized that I didn't want to become a millionaire because I had to sacrifice everything in order to do that. That's what you have to do to be a millionaire. I wasn't prepared to sacrifice that. I like my life. I like the experience of my life, and I want to keep that. And the same thing with the acting. I said, you know, I set my goal to be on TV in something, and I did it. I then wanted to do some Shakespeare on stage, and I'd done it. I then thought it'd be really cool to be in a movie, which I did more than once on all of the fronts. The same thing with the albums. I might have something like 20 albums or fuck knows 30, 40 recordings now, but I only ever set out to make one record. And I promised myself at 16, if I can make one record, I'll be happy for the rest of my life. Well, I've made more than that now, but the significance was the one. So it doesn't matter how many they stalled. I didn't think, I want to make a platinum record. I just wanted to make a record. I didn't want to be Tom Cruise. I just wanted to be in a movie. And so you set your sights for you, not for someone else's interpretation of what success is, but your interpretation. I'd like to climb a mountain. Oh, you only climbed a small mountain. I didn't say I was going to fucking climb Everest, did I? I wanted to climb a mountain, and I climbed a mountain. It doesn't matter where the mountain is or how big it was. You did what you set yourself out to do. That's success. That's success. Not somebody else's version. That's success for you.
I wholeheartedly agree with that. And also, I don't know if you're just creating a metaphor here or if someone actually said that to you, because I think that's a really cunty thing to say. You know,
they did say it. Yeah, they did say it. Yeah.
You know, well, that's a reflection of them, you know, but it's like...
That exactly, it made me laugh because exactly that. It's not me, it's your reflection of what you think, you think success is,
But also, it's like the same as anything, you know, in life, always remember that first and foremost, before anything or anyone or any actor, any musician, any bodybuilder out there, you're competing against yourself.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's like, look at it like this, you know, like obviously, you know, you and I spoke about this before, but obviously I used to be like fucking 19 stone before, and used to be extremely overweight and obese, and, you know, I started going to the gym, and if I, at that point when I first started, was gonna go on Instagram, look at all the fitness influencers and compare myself to them, or look at even most of the guys in the gym at that point, I would have fucking given up. I would have been there's no fucking way I'll look like that. But I just kept chasing my own progression. I was like, okay, then, you know, like, so this is where we are now. I'm gonna outlift who I was a month ago. And then as time goes on, it's like, okay, I'm gonna outdo who I was a year ago. I'm gonna outdo who I was 2 years ago. And then it goes on and on and on. And then you will find yourself in a position where you're like, holy shit, I've actually come that far enough where I can compete with those people who, if initially I compared myself to, I just would have given up.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
exactly.
you know,
And the
Yeah,
remarkable thing is that you stay with the you stay with the you, and it's when you walk, it's that day you walk in the gym, particularly if you're changing your body. It's that day you walk in the gym, and somebody who you've seen many times goes, "You look great." You just go, pardon? Because you're seeing the progression so slowly. You're thinking, I look okay. I think I look okay because there's mirrors everywhere. So you're seeing yourself, but that's the whole idea. Keep looking at yourself. Keep examining yourself. Keep going. My shoulders need a bit more roundness. Need a bit more rear delt. My chest isn't open enough. My quads are a bit droop. My hamstrings don't match my quads. So I need to get a bit more width on my lower back or thickness or. You're supposed to be measuring yourself all the time.
Arnie used to say that. Yeah, Arnie always was like, look at your weak spots.
Keep looking at your weak spots. That's your focus, and then improving that. These days at 61, I just keep a hoodie on all the time with baggy pants because I'm not really particularly. I know what I look like when I get in the shower. I'm quite happy with that. But on those times where I've been mid-workout, if I'm doing very heavy lifting and stuff like that, and then I take it off because it's the middle of summer or something. People in the gym that see me all year will go, fuck me, and all of a sudden I think, oh, shit, I want to put my top back on because I'm not trying to pull, I'm just working out. But you forget the progression is happening. But that's a sense of accomplishment. And it doesn't matter how good she looks or he looks or they are lifting or that guy's repetitions going or how many miles he's run on a treadmill or she's done on a bike. That's them. It's not you. So I can't go, well, they did 15 miles, so I'm going to run 15 miles. It's like fucking after half a mile, I'm like, fuck me with my hip. I'm knackered. So, and he's lifting 500 pounds on a bench. And it's like, oh, I can't do 500 pounds on a bench. I'm a failure. But the kid next to me or coming after me is probably doing 120. And it's like, right. So I'm better than him, but worse than him. It's like, no, I'm just me. I'm just me.
Yes.
And the only reason this kid one day who's lifting 120 pounds is going to be lifting 500 pounds. If that's what he wants to do, it's only you. It's only you. So, embrace that. Embrace that. And don't worry about anybody else, that comparison, because you make yourself. And look at you. Look at you. I mean, come on, fucking hell. If that's not a great sense of achievement, man.
Thanks, mate. Thank you. I appreciate it. The biggest achievement of it is the fact that I get to help other people do it now, you know, as a fitness coach. That's the fucking wildest part. The first time I went in, I remember this was a gym in Sheffield because that's where I used to live at the time.
Okay.
I went in, I looked at the weights area. I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. I was like, this is too scary. No fucking way. It was the day I signed up. It was October, I think 7th of October, 2017, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
And around that time, 7th or 8th, around about then. And then I went, and obviously they took my picture. They made the membership thing, and then I was like, no fucking way I'm going in the weights area, even though it was actually empty at the time. I was like, okay, I'm going to go on one of these bikes. Went on one of the bikes for like 30 minutes. And then I was really trying. I was really trying, you know. And I left and went on the bench in the locker room. I remember exactly where it was, so you go in and the bench is like sort of like stretched on your sort of like in front of you, just slightly to the right. Yeah. And I went and lied down on the bench. I lied down on my back and I just cried because I realized how out of shape I was. Yeah. And that was the first time I had that reality check, The
task ahead was like, wow, can I do this?
But then it was sort of like it dawned on me how sort of far behind I was from like the rest of the world. I felt like, that everyone out there in the world got to participate and have a life and thing. And I was just like all the way back here, And I took that personally,
Yeah, of course,
So obviously, flash forward, I lost a lot of the weight, and now just like operate as a bodybuilder, and and the fact that I've never been on stage yet. Maybe that's something I'll consider at some point.
Amazing, you should. Yeah, that would be great.
Thank you. Yeah, if it's like a natural sort of thing, because I care about longevity as well, because ultimately music is priority, and I don't want to start blasting gear because I'm concerned about it shortening my music career, and I have people like you to look up to as well, so you're out there, you just said 61. I had no idea. You're there fucking kicking ass, man.
I absolutely
anyway. I fucking love it, man, and I think it's very inspiring. But for me, the most rewarding is knowing that I started from that, a below zero position, and then now getting to help other people getting into training, getting their diet together, and then seeing the same evolution in them, and then seeing how much better they feel. Because 95% mental, exactly. 95% mental. The physical is just like a little sort of bonus,
and the beauty of that is that not only did you, of course, you learned nutritional equation values and training techniques and stuff like that, which they can apply, but progressively, of course. But you've also got the experience, and that's the difference. It's the experience. True. Yours is very different than someone else's. No two people are the same, but you achieved that, and the fact that you achieved that sends a signal to them that you can achieve it. If I can do it, you can do it. You just got to want to do it, and it's perseverance, it's discipline, and it's repetition, and it's a lifestyle. But you can achieve it if you want. Once you've got there, then if you don't want to do it, then that's okay too. But you've learned how to do it. And so, when I would be gaining weight, when I was like 30s or whatever, be gaining too much weight, and people go, you're putting a bit on there, and I'd be going, yeah. I think, well, you're not worried about that because you're into your training. I said, well, I've learned what my body likes to take in and likes to take out. I've learned what it wants to feed it and when I can get rid of it. So once you learn that, you learn how does my body respond? Training's easier, dieting's easier, so you don't worry about it. If you're a little underweight, you can push it up very easily. If you're a little under your progression, you can change your routine. You know your body. The thing is to get to know what your body does, how your body works, and then it's much simpler. Initially, when you start off, you don't know what is fucking capable for your body. I remember going into a friend's basement, and his brother had a set of weights, and I was 12 years old in Canada. And I went down, they were just out there. And I was like, oh, fucking hell, weights, do you do weights? He was like, nah, it's for kids. And of course, he was a high school football player. I don't know how much was on the bar. It was a home set. I just picked the bar up and put it up in the air. And they were like, holy fuck. His brother came down and went, how could you lift that? I was like, is that heavy? And he was like, well, it's what I use. And I'm like, oh, and he looked like a jock. But to me, I didn't have anything to go on. It's like you see the woman whose kid's in a car, she just rips the door off. I go, how did you rip the door off? She was going, she doesn't even know. It just happened. Yeah. When you're under a weight or when you're under a cycle or when it becomes challenging, the minute that you think, can I do this? You're losing. The minute, they're talking about boxing, when we did boxing, and you see it all the time, psyching the other guy out. Why was Mike Tyson so feared? Because he didn't psych anybody out. He just stared at them. Mm-hmm. And when someone's staring at you and you're trying to fucking go, you're trying to do all that, and they're just staring at you, that's the person to watch out. The worst fights I ever had in my life were people who wore glasses because they can't fucking see. And you think, oh, that fucking spelky git. And then you get into a fight, they take their glasses off, they can't see. So they fight like a rabid dog because they don't know what's coming. So they fight harder than you ever imagined. So it's like, right. So you have to go somewhere else when you do these things. And they talk about the zone when you're waiting, hitting the zone. You get into that one place where the weight's perfect, your muscles are aligned, your mind's clear, and you don't feel it. And the first gym, proper gym that I went to was in Wallsend, and it was built. The stuff in the gym was built by guys who worked in the shipyards, so it was all fucking welded together. The dumbbells were all fucking big metal cut-off weights welded together. It was like fucking hell. It was a right old sweatshop, and the guys who trained there all worked in the shipyard. So they were like big, serious fuckers, not just like bodybuilders, but like strong men who like lifted metal plates all their lives. So it was and they took no prisoners, they'd fucking come over to a machine. If you were sitting chatting, they'd just pick you up and throw you over there. God, fucking get off the fucking, as soon as you had to keep your wits about you. But if I would go like, am I doing this right? They just go, what the fuck are you trying to do? And then you tell them and go, no, sit there, do this, put that up. And all of a sudden it was working. So it was very basic, but it was like getting slapped around the face, go, stop wasting your time, get on with that. And now go and eat, And so, but I embraced it. It was like, wow, something's happily changing in me. Something's happening to me. And it felt great. If you said to a guy, if he was going to do some, deadlifting, and he was training for a competition. I was going to go down and help. You were going to come down and help. If he said 10 o'clock and I was there 10:05, fucking hell, forget it. They might as well make my coffin for me, because it was what the fuck? Get out. You weren't even allowed in the gym if you turned up late.
Really? Wow.
Because you said 10 o'clock. This is fucking not 10 o'clock. So, you learn to go, right, get there early, get ready and get in there, And it's difficult at the time. You feel like, oh, for fuck's sake, fuck off. But actually now looking back, I think, thank God for all of that. Thank God for all of that, because these people were passing on their knowledge and their experience, which is what you're doing through what you went through. You're passing that on, and that's to be embraced. And if you can keep that, and you're obviously inspiring people in your music and in the gym, I mean, that's got to be a great feeling, because you've done it for yourself, and now you're getting to do it 2 different ways for other people. I mean, well, what's better than that? People, again, see people. It doesn't matter how big the weight is. It doesn't matter where the gym is. It doesn't matter what socks you're wearing, or whether your shorts are fucking your granddad's or yours, or you bought them at Primal or fucking Sports Direct. It's just like, don't worry about the clothes. Just worry about what you're doing. People, yeah.
The thing is, when you find, first of all, thank you. The thing is, when you find something that feels good, it feels right, and it's just so beneficial. Yeah. Or more importantly, when you find something that just makes you happy, you want to share that with the rest of the world. Like it's the same as when you're like fucking 5-6 years old and then you do a shitty drawing, but you want to show everyone, Everybody. Because
look what I've achieved. Look what I've achieved. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think
the one step further, just to say that, the one step further is. And this is what's really important, and I wish more people would do that, because you're doing that, and hopefully I do that too. The one step further is you've done this picture, you feel really proud of it, and you show everybody else. So your buddy, whoever it is trying to do one too, and it's not so good, but you help them to make it great. And while they're doing it, you tell them how great it is, and then that inspires them to do more. So that's going one step further. This is what I've achieved, and it's great, but you're trying to achieve it. I could help you to achieve it too. And so that's the connection with humanity, It's like, okay, we talk about the me, the singular, the I am, the satanic, there was the one, and of course that's important. But being benevolent to go, this is what I learned. Can I help you in this way? In a practical sense, not in a preaching sense, not in all of that kind of sense.
Yeah, of
trying
course.
to bend someone's mind, keeping it separated. What they think is what they think, what they believe in, what they believe in, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's what they need. This is what I need. But I can help you achieve the thing that you're trying to achieve, because people help me. And I'll help you, and I'll give you everything I've got. Once I've given you all the knowledge I've got, that's what I've got. But it's yours if you want it. And that is a marvelous thing. That is a marvelous thing. That's the next step after your achievement, is realizing that I did this and I can help you however you need it.
That's absolutely beautiful, man. That's absolutely beautiful. Tony, obviously we've been talking for a little while already now, and I'm sure some of the people listening to this are like, Cheyenne, what the fuck? Aren't you going to at least ask him about music?
Sorry, we got it. Yeah.
No. This is, so obviously these are topics that are very dear to my heart, so I absolutely love talking to you about it. You're absolutely inspirational, man. But I have to ask, so what's going on in the realm of Venom Inc. at the moment?
Well, it's a kind of a movement going about. We have a big show in Newcastle for the end of the season on Saturday, Biker Grave Fest, which is a hometown return for me. It was for the band too, I guess. With Goto, I Hate God, a great list of bands on. It's going to be amazing. Lots of old friends. I haven't played them in 40 years, so this is going to be cool.
Oh shit!
Yeah, and unfortunately, Mantas isn't going to be there. He had a heart attack a few years ago, and then last year he suffered a second one. And it's impacted his mental self, of course. But he's a fighter, so he's struggled with that and tried to get himself into some kind of shape, like he did after the first one. But I think mentally, it's taken a massive toll. And just one of those scary moments in our life. We don't last forever. We want to stay 20 and we want to stay all virile and stuff like that. But, my training changes, my diet's changed because I'm not 20 anymore. So, I have to be aware of that. So you have to be smart a bit, and life will beat you in the end because we're all headed for the ground. So, and I just think it's a moment for him where he doesn't feel he should travel so much, and he doesn't want to, anything to happen if he's on an airplane or running through an airport or in a foreign country away from his loved one, his partner, so who has also been sick. So it's very difficult. So he's bowed out. That he made a statement yesterday that he just can't do Venom Inc. anymore. And he will record music because he lives in Portugal. He has a studio, so he will keep doing his music, which is his therapy, but live performances with us in particular is just not on because, like I said, at the end of the day, people will throw bricks and stuff at me, but they've been doing that for 4 years. I don't really give a fuck anymore, but everything bounces off. But I'm a workaholic, and I would tour 24 hours a day, like 365 days if I could, everywhere on the planet, every shithole, every great arena, just as long as I was playing music, as long as I was connecting with people. And not everybody's the same. Not everybody wants to do that. And it's difficult, particularly if you get age, you don't bounce back than when you did when you were younger. But that's why I train. That's why I keep my mind as strong and fit as I can. So it's unfortunate. But the door was always open. I left the door open, and if in a year's time or whatever it is, if he just turns up and goes, oh, I'd love to, then in you come. Just come and play. And I'll get you in and I'll get you out as easy as I can. So that's why I say never, and I'm sure people were saying from his point of view, it's like the door's closed, but it's not closed for me. He's my brother. I love him to death. We've been together for a long time, and we've been friends for way back, 36 years running Venom stuff in one way or another. And I've been fronting that and beyond that, with my other band, and we're all from the same town and the same place, and we're all friends. So, for me, it's a never say never thing, But right now he doesn't want to do it, and I totally understand it. So it's a shame. But we have a full season coming up. So I've got January, I hit the ground running with the US tour. I do a part 1 and part 2. That runs from January through to February in the US. And then we go straight to Mexico and do South America. Then we come back. We've got a few festivals in Europe. I will be at Bloodstock, so hopefully see you there and we can have a couple of drinks. And then off we go back to do America again. And then, we've got Asia and Australia. And along the line, I'll be doing 2 live releases, the Live Assault series, two live releases from 2 particular shows, and the new album and an EP. So, it's kind of bundled up there. So lots of good stuff going to happen, but lots of live shows because, I just want to get out there and play the band. And I have Jackson, who was with us, Mark Jackson, who was with Acid Rain, Control the Storm, a few bands, and he was with us with Empire of Evil when me and Jeff were doing Mantas were doing Empire of Evil. Mm-hmm. And Corin Murphy, who stepped in very kindly to cover positions because he did the US tour. The second part of the US tour when Mantas had to bow out because his wife got sick, or his partner, got sick. Curran was with his band 72 Legions. They were on the tour. And I just watched him and thought, that guy. I love the way I just love his performance. And if you give that guy the stage, I bet he would just be like a fucking firework. And so he'd learned a couple of songs. And I said, you want to do Indonesia with us? We had Hamasonic in Indonesia, Malaysia coming up, and Malaysia, I think, or Indonesia. And
beautiful country.
Yeah, amazing. And he said, yeah, sure. So we went out there. That was a testing ground. It was amazing, and off we went. So we played, another 10 countries or whatever, all of South America and Poland and France and Rockstad in Romania. And it was very successful. A great guitarist, and he was with Annihilator and Nevermore, so I knew he had the fucking, the chops. But yeah, he's from Cleveland, and he's just a really nice guy. He's good to be around. Very positive energy, like Wuss. He's very positive, and you need that. It inspires you, particularly at my age. To have that positive energy from him wanting to achieve. And of course, Jackson, who's a consummate professional, an amazing drummer, and just is like so laid back. So it's great fun. It's great fun. So yeah, we're hoping the season's going to be amazing, and looking forward to seeing everybody.
I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, man. I know you gave all the dates of everywhere that you were playing, but I think a shorter way of saying it would have been, yes, we're playing entire planet Earth in the next 12 months.
Yeah. Well, we have got a Turkish show on offer, and some shows in Spain, but you get offered a lot of the times, and you want to realize them also. Yeah. But hopefully we'll be able to get to Istanbul, and we got something in Greece again, in Athens, and so they're all kind of hanging around there. But yeah, I mean, if you could just start the bus and end up back where you were after hitting everywhere, I just love that. I mean, yeah. Imagine, we were talking about Iran and the problem with Iran. And when we did South America once, and we hit every country except Venezuela, because of course, there's a problem in Venezuela. So I suggested to the British consulate, would we be able to talk to the Venezuelan consulate about a concert? You're not allowed to go in there. No, I know that. But what I'm saying is, in Colombia, where the border is, there's a bridge. The bridge goes between Colombia and Venezuela. So I said, could we talk to the consulate? And what I'm going to suggest is, where the division is on the bridge, they could militarize it if they want. We set up a stage on the bridge at the halfway point, and then they allow the kids free to come onto the bridge, or they can even stay on the show, and we play the concert to them from the Colombian side. So they're not leaving Venezuela, and you can barricade it, whatever you need to do, but they can watch the concert. And
that's mental.
I thought for a moment they were going to go for it, but they said no. The Venezuelan just went, nah, not. They're not taking that risk. And I just thought that was a brilliant solve. And, and it's another thing, like with Iran, I realized the problem with Iran. But if I could drive up to a fence and go, why don't we play this side? And everybody could just sit on the other side and watch. So we're not coming in, we're not disturbing anything. They can just get some music and we'll go home. If they would say yes, I'd be there doing it, And that's the thing. I wanted not just to break down the barriers, but just to connect, because there's people in all of these places who maybe are not interested in the politics and are not interested in the religious protocols. Maybe they are, but maybe they still find solace and freedom through the music. And why can't they enjoy that too? Why do they have to escape to be able to have the freedom just to go to a concert? And like I say, it's uplifting. It may feel like, if you're listening to Bassery, something bad's going down, or if you're listening to Gotor, something's wrong with you. But the people are just smiling and happy and elated, and it gives them strength. It gives them the strength to get through the rest of this shit. That's why we listen to it. It means I can deal with all your shit if you just let me go to a Behemoth concert for just an hour. I'll come back and do the whole garden for you. Don't worry about it, So
maybe hour and 10 minutes.
Maybe now it's 10 minutes. Okay, look at
give room for Lucifer at the end. No, but
yes,
I think
of course, we're summoning a demon. We've got to give him a bit of space.
Absolutely. I think, that's obviously the thing. Unfortunately, because I've spent many years, and I do want to get back to the Venom Inc. topic as well, but you make a very interesting point there, and I just want to quickly unpack that. I've spoken to my friends a lot who are either in Iran or are from there, and we've constantly come back to this topic of hijab, for example, because that's sort of been under the microscope in the last couple of years, and I mean, I think it's really dumb for a government to make something like that compulsory, and I think it's pretty shit, like imagine if you were in Scotland and it was compulsory to wear kilts, and if you didn't, you would get beaten up and jailed.
Yes, exactly.
It's the equivalent of that, except that it's imposed on women particularly, and and they're treated like second-class citizens, which by the way, it turns out it's actually a very it's an extremely cruel but smart way to control a population, because you need the feminine intuition to have an uprising. But anyway,
absolutely. No, but absolutely, you're right. You're bang on. You're bang on. Same thing with extreme music. Why is it bad? Oh, because they do drugs. It's all about Satan, and it's all bad, and it's evil. Tattoos, and why do they do that? Because if you make it underground, if you make it there, these are the people who have a voice. They're the people who stand up and go, "Fuck it, that's wrong. We don't need you. We don't need you. Just be quiet. We need people we can control. We can't control you. So that's underground. That's bad. That's to the dark side. But it's just because you would stand up and do what you want to do."
Absolutely. And the point I'm getting to with that is the fact that, the conclusion we all made, and obviously this is pretty much anyone will say that. Let's say, for example, in the case of Iran, I don't know about Venezuela, but I can speak about Iran very clearly because I grew up there and I know a lot about the place. It's that reform's just not an option. So if they turned around and said, okay, we're going to get rid of hijab now, or if we're going to allow heavy metal concerts freely and we'll get Venom Inc. to come and play here, they're no longer the Islamic Republic. So the whole definition of everything about it changes. And
they lose that identity,
Yeah, so the way to do it, it's like a cancer. The only way to deal with it is not to coexist with it, is to just remove it. And that's the only way forward.
I mean, I think, I remember us going to China, and, it takes around about 6 months if you're doing it and it's queuing up to get into America, being a British citizen, right? 2 or 3 months anyway, but you've got to allow it maybe 6 months, 3 months to 6 months. It costs you a lot of money. If you get denied, you don't get that money back. You have to file through an immigration lawyer. You can't do it yourself. You have to wait for the application. Then when they send the paperwork back, you have to try and get your appointment. Then you have to go there. Then you have to be interviewed. Then you have to, do all of just the red tape to get into America. When I went to Russia, I went down to the embassy. I handed in my thing. It cost me 10 quid to get my passport back with a Russian thing in. An hour later, I was like, fucking hell, that's Russia. I mean, there's the baddies, aren't there? When I went to Beijing, same thing. Same thing with Beijing. And I was like, right, I'm going to China, so this is going to be a ball ache and stuff. The only thing they asked was, we need all the lyrics to all the songs you're going to play. And I was like, well, we're fucked. We're never going to get in. So I wrote all the lyrics out thinking, oh, well, it is what it is. I can't hide it. They can find them on the internet. And they passed the app, no problem. And I was like, what? Fucking hell, we're playing in league with Satan. We're playing, no, absolutely fine. What? Yeah, because there's no political stuff in there. There's no political stuff. And I was right.
Yeah, that's why when Metallica played, they weren't allowed to play Master of Puppets.
No, no political, nothing political. But that was the way around it. Okay, so we don't play anything political, so that's okay to play. So I guess. Maybe it's a compromise, but then pull from your set the stuff that's apolitical then and just have a good time. And at least people get to say your songs. Unless your most popular song's Anarchy in the UK, then you might be fucked. But you know what I mean?
Go play some SOD covers over there.
Well, yeah, exactly, yeah. But speak English or die.
That's it, yeah.
I mean, there must be a way, and that was why I was trying so hard with Venezuela. There must be a way where we can, and the same thing with Iran. There must be a way where we're not treading on your toes. We're respecting everything about it, but we're just giving people something that's tangible, something for their soul. Not they're not getting weapons. They're not getting any political statements. We're not trying to overturn anybody. We're not trying to change, 1,000, lineage of beliefs. We're just liberating someone for an hour. Can we just do that? And everybody will smile and go happy and they'll do everything you want to do. Can we just do that? That hurts my soul. The whole hijab thing, of course, and it's not exclusive, of course, Afghanistan and the Taliban, and we look at what we're looking at with the wars in the Middle East, and you just think, oh my God, for fuck's sake, there's not enough of us on this tiny spitball of a blue piece of rock in the fucking universe to be doing this, and even with the Middle East, like I say, it raises Roman Catholic. Now, whether it's real or not real, there was a site in Mesopotamia where the first writings were found. The first writings. You can't go there now. You know why? Because it's in Syria and it's fucking sand now. The whole place is gone. They just destroyed the whole place. It's like, that's where the first ever writing was found. I wanted to go there just to be there. And, I'd go to Gethsemane or to the Mount of Olives just to go, because it's part of our natural history. It's part of our folklore as humans, to go to the desert and find, Abraham's rock, and, just to be able to go to a sacred place and to see it, all those things I wish were just free to everybody, because we're all human and we're all on the same planet. It's all part of our rich history. And so I can't go certain places because I'm not this or not that. Just is like, wow. I just, in an ideal world, I'd just not have any borders and not have any prohibitions, and just everybody be able to do together as humanity, and respect whatever your belief is, whatever you do. Absolutely respect that. That's your choice. But just to allow that freedom for people as well, on this tiny place. I mean, I remember when reading a story called The Warrior Race. It was a book about the evolution of the UK and all of the things that led to it and what we did during the Empire. And when they were dividing the Middle East, Syria and all of those places, when they were dividing up the territories, it was the British emissary who was there, had his daughter visit for a summer. And he was in charge of dividing up Iraq and all of those territories. And he left her in the office with a map and a pencil and went, I'm supposed to divide all these. Can you just have so she fucking just drew on this map, and that was now your country. Imagine, she might have drawn to a fucking village. So your nan comes home with a shopping and you go, oh yeah, you live in that country now. Sorry, nan. Yeah. It's like we're in two different countries. It's like, what? Well, the shop's in that country and we're in this country. And now we've got to go do all this border control. What? Just some fuckwit with a fucking pencil created that from nothing. These are nomadic tribes. What the fucking hell are you doing? And that kind of thing blows my mind, that we can do that to each other.
But that's a lot. I mean, I'm not necessarily like an anti-border person, but what's interesting about it is, like, you make a good point. That's actually how a lot of countries like like Azerbaijan, Armenia, part like Afghanistan, Pakistan, some of these countries came to be because Russia was basically threatening Iran back in the day, and then they made them do a contract called Turkmenchay. You can look this up. It's called Qaraرداد Turkmenchay, which means the Turkmenchay contract, and that's basically when they turned all of those other they turned the Persian Empire into lots of mini countries, and then that's when the map of Iran shrunk to what it is now, which is still actually a fairly large country, but that's how Azerbaijan or Armenia came to be. That's why you get a lot of Russian writings in Armenia. That's kind of like. It's obviously where you get a lot of Assyrians from as well. They have their own very ancient, important heritage as well as obviously the Persians. But I'm sorry, man.
Anyway, we went offline. Yeah, sorry. Let's come back.
People are going to be mad at me when they listen to this and they're like, what the fuck?
Sorry, everybody. Sorry.
Which is fine. I'm having the best time ever. I hope you are as well. But
I am.
Just coming back into Venom Inc. So I had no idea that, I knew that like some stuff was going on, because I went to a Dying Fetus show last night, and then this is a person who is actually Alex, who built my guitar for me here, is a great guy, and I was talking to him and he's like, oh, so who have you got coming up on the podcast? I said, oh, well, between us, I've actually got fucking Tony Dolan coming on the podcast tomorrow. He's like, oh, fuck, that's really cool. And then he was like, have you seen about what's happened with Mantas and stuff? I was like, oh, no, I haven't really heard much about it. I guess it's still very fresh, and so you obviously clarified what had gone on. And how do you feel? I mean, again, this is a guy you've known for fucking decades. Yeah. How do you feel, there's the professional side of things, where it obviously makes a lot of sense to have him there on stage with you. But just as a friend, how do you feel knowing that he's going through that?
Hurt and gutted and, helpless. the value in the band was about the music, and that was the whole inspiration for it. And calling it Venom Incorporated, and even putting it together, I got Abaddon in, and much like when I did Primeval in '89, there was no Mantas. He didn't want to be part of Venom, and I got Mantas to come back in. So for me, it was really important, and I feel it still is important, And Kronos is down in South America doing his thing. Thank fuck, still alive, still doing it, and everybody's loving it. And so I wanted that to continue, but realize, at our age, it can't continue forever, but it can continue until we can't do it. So, to kind of come to that conclusion that that's not going to happen possibly again or for some time is difficult. And I know it was difficult for him. And it's a reality check, which we don't want. And, I think for fans' point of view, because there's questions. I've fronted and been part of a Venom in every way since 36 years. Recorded all of those classic songs on several official releases, and obviously we have Inc albums. And when I go on stage and play all those classics, usually it's because the fans are asking for them, and if a fan goes, will you play Witching or Welcome to Hell? I wasn't on the original albums, but I did record those songs. I've been playing for 36 years. Why stop now? And if a fan wants to hear it, and I'm there to do it, I don't see why I shouldn't do it. It's a huge part of who I am. So of course I'm going to play it. And they're going to enjoy it, because you may be a 60-year-old guy who was there in 1981 or whatever it was is going to feel perturbed because you're not that guy. But a 20-year-old fucking weren't born when we did the fucking first Inc album, so they don't give two fucks. They just know this music. When they put the albums on, you're not sitting next to them in the fucking bedroom and they're going, which one are you? And I remember Matt Abaddon would walk through venues and people go, Mantas, will you sign this? I went in and people have gone to me, Mantas, you're amazing. And I'm like, thank you very much. It's like, they don't know who you are. Yeah. That's not taken away from these names and this thing that happened and this gloriousness that is there. But that's what I want to keep inspiring. I don't want to do it just for money. There's not enough money in it. I don't want to do it because it's making me feel bad, because I'm not a narcissist. I want to keep the inspiration going. And I'd be doing this as the Sex Pistols if I'd been in the Sex Pistols in the same way, or whatever it was, because those things to me were inspiring. And if I can then inspire by keeping that attitude, keeping that heavy metal attitude, and creating new music under that banner, then I'm going to fucking do it. Because I always said to people, I don't give a shit where you find Venom, as long as you find Venom. And I did it because I didn't want a world without Venom. I didn't want a world without a Venom, and if there's another band that comes along and shakes the boots of everything, fantastic. For me, it was more ahead. For everybody, for other people, it was Venom, and I want to keep flying that flag. I don't want it to end, and if it inspires one person in a myriad of shows, then great. It's inspired somebody. They may be the next Venom or the next Motorhead or the next Battery or the next Tom Warrior. It's like, great. Go create, bring something to the table. Make it your own, and that's the whole point of it. And I don't want to have 55,000 people in a band. I don't want to change a drummer every 5 minutes. I don't want to change the guitarist every 5 minutes. I want a stable lineup. But life isn't like that. Sometimes a wheel falls off your car. Sometimes your windscreen wiper breaks. Sometimes you can fix it. Sometimes you can't. You have to replace it. You don't want to replace it, but you have to replace it. And you make a decision. The engine's fucked. It's my favorite car. Do I fix it or do I dump it? Well,
such a good analogy. Yeah,
fix it. I want to fix it because it's my fucking favorite car. So if I have to take the whole engine block out and drop a new one in, that's what I'm going to do. And if it costs me 1,000, 3,000, 10,000, fuck it. That's what I'm going to do because it's my favorite car. And I don't make a choice to do that. I don't want to spend that money. I don't want to change lineups. But sometimes you have no choice, and it's not because you want to, it's just because it has to happen. And so it has to happen. And so I think it's important you know, when people go, oh, well, you know, no Mantas, no Venom Inc. It's like, yeah. No Kronos, no Christmas, no Abaddon, no Christmas, no Abaddon, no Venom Inc., no Mantas, no... La. Yes, okay. Well, we just done a whole season and a half, a year and a half. We played almost 800,000 people. We played Poland Rock to 500,000. You know, we went to, you know, Brazil and Chile and Colombia and Poland and Indonesia and blah, blah. And everybody was losing their minds. Everybody was enjoying the music. We got to talk to everybody. We got to sign everything, and we got to be there. And that showed to me that it's the music. It's the music that is eternal. The music means anything. Those characters will always be those characters. They'll always be legendary. The music will always be legendary. But the life doesn't have to stop until you can't do it. And the last time I'm privileged to see Lemmy in Italy before he went, and I don't leg. I feel really uncomfortable with all that shit. So I'll go if they're my friends, but I really feel uncomfortable sometimes just hanging around that. I don't mind being with the people, but, you know, going backstage and playing all that is like, that's not my thing. So I Bloodstock, Septic Flesh Run, my fucking favorite band next to Slayer, and I didn't even speak to them because I just felt like a twat going to go, hey, hello, I'm Tony, I love you. You know, they go like, you know who you are, fuck off, we're not interested. But you know, I watched this show and I was like, fuck, I love them so much. So it's the same thing if I go and see Slayer. You know, I went all the way to Germany to see a show they were doing. I could have gone backstage, but I just didn't because I felt like a twat going backstage. So I just bailed. But I saw the show, and that's why I was there. And so, those things are part of it for me. It's the music. It's the music that it carries it, and the music to the people. And I'd quite happily sit and talk to Devin Townsend for like 2 hours. But I'd quite happily sit next to the guy in the pub and talk to them about why they love music for 2 hours. You know, for me, it's just about connecting with people, and people want to talk. It doesn't matter what walk of life they're from or where they're from. They just want to talk, you know, and leaving a bit of yourself, I think, because when you connect with someone you've never connected for, you leave a bit of yourself. Let's say I'm in Kuala Lumpur and I go to the corner store. I can go in, grab what I want, stew it on the counter. They take the money, I take the money, and I leave. That's it. A transaction, no more. But if I go into Kuala Lumpur and speak to the person behind the counter, I go, oh, yeah, and do you have any kids? Or do you live around here? And all of a sudden I'm making a connection. All of a sudden their eyes change, and now we're connecting. I've left a little piece of myself there, and I've taken a bit with me. And I was walking up Oxford Street. Last story, because I know everybody will be going, what the fuck's this got to do with music? What story? I was walking up Oxford
It's great,
Street.
man. I'm all ears, please.
Well, I was working for Queen on We Will Rock You, running the automation for the show in London. And it was getting near Christmas, and I had to do something at the top of Oxford Street. So I came out of here, and I was making my way up Oxford Street. It wasn't so busy, but there was a woman, and I saw this woman, maybe late 20s or whatever, early 30s. She was dressed, obviously, you know, to go somewhere. She was adjusting her hair like fucking crazy in the shop window, and then checking her suit and looking down. And I thought, as I was getting closer, I thought something really important is about to happen for this person. So as I got close to her, I went to the side of her and I stayed in the window, and then she looked in the window at me, and I went, you look fucking amazing. You got this. And I ran off. And, I'm sure she's all, what a fucking weirdo. But I knew that when she walked away, she would then tell people later, wow, this guy just came out of nowhere. Maybe she felt a little empowered by that, because someone noticed that she was making the effort and she looked good. And if she went in and got whatever she got, or married whatever she was going to marry, or whatever it was, I hope I contributed to that. Just taking one moment to reassure someone, you are fucking killing it. Just get on with it. You know,
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. I love your thinking, man. I relate to your style of thinking a lot. I think that human connection, when you say you leave a part of yourself and you take something away, I think that it's a difficult thing to actually like measure.
Yes. Oh yes.
But to me, I feel like it's one of the it's one of the best currencies that you can have in life.
Absolutely.
'Cause
Absolutely.
it reminds me as well. I try and have those similar kinds of interactions with people. A lot of times you'll feel this feeling in your stomach where it's like, oh, I really want to say this to this person. But then your head goes, well, I don't want to seem weird. Oh, does this appropriate to the culture or whatever?
Yeah.
And then the more and more you give into that part of yourself that's like, you know what, fuck it, I don't care. I'll say it anyway. If I look like an asshole by saying it, fuck it. Then that's on me. And I've had a few interactions like that turned out to be pretty cool. This. I remember when we were in Berlin back in April. We were playing this festival the following day, but we went there a bit earlier because it was our bass player Soli's birthday. This was in April this year.
Okay.
So we were all just hanging out, and then we were going into the central part to find some food, and we were on this sort of tram, and then there was this guy sat next to us. He looked maybe like 18, 19, kind of, like a little bit like skinny and weedy and quite shy looking. He had his headphones on, but then he was wearing a Cannibal shirt. Yeah. And he kept looking over at us, but not saying anything. And I was like, you going to say something? You're not going to say something, are you? I'm going to have to say it now. Yeah. And then I just, like not long before we got off, I was like, Cannibal Corpse, cool shirt. And then he just lit up. His whole energy, his whole demeanor, like everything changed. It was like, oh fuck, and when you're talking about that, when you're making that example, it's these little things, you never know. And that person doesn't have to know who you are. That person doesn't have to be like a fan or whatever. No, you can just talk to them as a stranger. And then if they go and then they see your face online later and they're like, holy shit, it's that guy. That's that's a bonus.
Exactly. I do that shit all the time. I'll go, cool shirt. And just leave it like that. And all of a sudden you just see them. It's like a light bulb. It's like, oh my God. Yeah. That's it. Someone thinks it's cool, beautiful moments, tiny moments, but very worth it. Very worth it, man.
Yeah, definitely. And I had this other fucking guy. That was an interesting one. I might even get him on the podcast. Who knows? But a random guy I met on a bus in. I was going between Paddington and Camden. Oh yeah. Right. And this dude got on the fucking bus with these speakers. It was him and his partner. And then he just started talking to me out of nowhere, and I was like, okay, go on then. We're in a conversation. Fuck it, let's go. You know that feeling? At first you want to be like weird, like, oh, I don't want to talk to you. But then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's see where this goes.
I'm into this.
Yeah. And then turned out like, he's like going around dancing in different corners, and then they're like totally free-spirited people, believe in body movement, believe in energy, didn't think that the lockdowns helped anyone, and all these different stuff that we're talking about. And we're like, okay, my kind of fucking people. And then we exchanged emails, and that was it. Something might come of that, it might not, but it was a valuable exchange and interaction,
Yeah, and it's really, how many people do you sit about on the tube and come and sit right next to you and get up and go off? They've all got family, they've all got lives, they've all got shit going on, and you don't know who they are.
Yeah,
1 second can touch that and change their everything. Change everything in a second just by being open to it, Just by being open to it. I find that amazing. I was in a tutorial lesson when my teacher came and said, what do you want to do when you leave school? Oh, I want to be a nurse, or I want to join the merchant navy, or I want to do this, I want to be a banker. What do you want to do when you leave school? I said, I want to meet everybody on the planet. And they were like, right, but what do you want to do for a job? I went, meet everybody on the planet. And they went, listen, boy, a job, not just fucking around. I said, well, what job makes me meet everybody on the... There is no job like that. You're a loser, boy. You're not going to get anywhere. And now I do a job where I meet everybody on the planet. And I think, fuck, I'd love to go back to meet that teacher and go, what did you end up doing for it? And I went, meet everybody on the fucking planet. When he said to me, you can't meet everybody on the planet. I went, no, but you could fucking die trying, couldn't you? You could die trying to eat everything, every dish that everybody makes on this planet, and everything that everybody's built on this planet you could try and see, and everybody that exists on this planet you could try and meet. And you might not do it all, but you're going to have a fucking wild ride along the way, and that's the important thing again, and I think that enlightenment is is speaking to people, touching someone's soul. Great shirt, bang. Like, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm just dancing and we do this and fucking, then you have a conversation. It's like, man, all of a sudden you're in there. I've met the most interesting people on a plane who were bored, just going, so what do you do? And then you come away going, oh my God, I know all about this person. I know all his family, where he lives, where he was born, like what they're doing for Christmas, what they're going to have for Christmas dinner. It's fucking hell, just from a conversation. I could have quite easily sat there and went, shut up, put me things on and gone to sleep. And then never known that. It's like, yeah, but now I come away. We both know who each other are and where we're going and what we're doing. And you may never meet again, but it enriches you, it enriches them. And you've noticed them and they've noticed you, and it validates being alive. We're all in it together. It might not seem like it, but we fucking are,
And the most important thing of that is you will always, always, always be surprised at how much you have in common with the person you've never met.
Totally. You think, well, fucking hell, you're from and I'm from, and and all of a sudden you go, oh shit. But you know why? The same thing we were talking about the primal instinct. We're fucking humans. We're just humans.
That's part of the reason why I do this podcast, to be honest with you. This thing costs me money. It costs me exponential amount of time to run, and but to me it's worth it because it allows me the opportunity to have fucking awesome conversations like this one, but also for the people to listen and be like, hey, it's almost like they get to eavesdrop on our conversation,
exactly,
and be like the third person present in the room. That's basically what this is, and I welcome that, and then maybe this can be some kind of solace to them, at least, to be like, hey, like maybe I have more in common with these guys than I thought. Or actually, you know what? I think what he just said there 5 minutes ago is bullshit. I'm going to let him know in the comments. I welcome that too.
Absolutely.
Bring it on. Tell us.
And there'll be a load of people that go, I've done that. I've heard that. I saw that. Yeah. I agree with that. Or be inspired by that. And that's exactly why it's important. That's why there's value in this and why it's so important what you do, because that's what it is. It's and for younger listeners or watchers, it's like, when you feel lost, when you feel nobody gets it, well, we've just told you, we both come from backgrounds very different religiously, politically, and geographically. And we've both been hampered by you can't. When we both gone, yes, you fucking can. And we did it. So, you can too. You can too. You just got to want to do it. You just got to want. And you might have to sacrifice some things. You might have to ride that bike another 5 kilometers every other week and think, fuck me, I hate this. Or it may be something else, but you can do it. You just got to want to do it. So do it. Just do it.
Absolutely, man. And it's funny when you say that as well, because I remember when I was a kid in school, I was exactly 14 years old, and I was like, okay, I'm into metal now, and rock and metal and anything. I was like fucking fly around the shit, like I was so attracted to it. Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah. And then I remember talking to an English teacher that we had. I never bothered with English teachers because I always spoke English, even when I was like 5-6 years old, because I just watched loads of films. That's why my accent sounds the way it does. I learned English from watching films.
Your English is perfect, absolutely perfect. Yeah.
I should hope so, considering I have a podcast.
Well, now, yes, of course, yeah.
But exactly. But it's funny. I remember going up to this guy and being like, "Oh yeah, I really like this Metallica album." I can't remember which one it was I was showing to him, but I was like telling him that I like that style of music, and then he was like, "Oh, that's not really good. People. You know what he said? He said if you keep this up, people will hate you as an adult, and he actually said that. He said people will hate you, And then I kind of was a little bit like, a little sour about it at first. Yeah. And then I was like, you know what? If that's the case, then I'll hate people. Fuck them. Yeah. This is what I want. And obviously, exactly, then the whole misanthropic black metal thing happens a year or two later. But obviously, I would say I love people. I think that the parts of people that I kind of like don't like is parts that is more out of disappointment rather than hatred or indifference or anything like that. But even then, there's a positive, I think, in everyone. But
there's the cruelty of nature is the fact that it's always puzzled me since I was, you know, in the late 80s. We had to practice hiding under tables for the nuclear war that was going to happen. You know, under that, we literally had classes where the bell would go and we'd have to get and hide under the table because, you know, so you're thinking, fucking hell. And one thing that always puzzled me with that was like, and questionable was like, how can we, you know, if you think of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, you know, how could we create instruments of death that would irradiate us and give us cancer and kill us really slowly, and then develop cures for cancer? Like, what were the same people? So we're trying to give people cancer at the same time we're trying to cure them of cancer. Could we like cut the ribbon and just not give them cancer and maybe solve it that way instead of trying to go, right, we've given them asbestos. So 50 years of smoking in asbestos is going to give them cancer. We've got to try and figure out how to cure that. I tell you what, let's not use asbestos and then they won't get cancer. You know, I'm like, what the fuck? You know, it's bizarre that we have this kind of yin to the yang with human nature. And to say things like that, you know, if you go that route with music, yeah, people are going to hate you. Like, because, well, I can't equate it, just because it's bad and it's evil and it's is it? Yeah.
Well, the one difference to that, I think, is that, you know, you're talking about the yin to the yang. It's not, I don't think, if I may say, it's not even a yin to the yang. Those things are in place on purpose because it creates profit.
Yes.
You know,
yes,
there's no better business scheme in this planet than creating a problem and thus selling a solution to that problem which you created. We've seen this time and time again. It's all over our food system. You can very much look at exactly what happened in the last 4 years, but I don't want to get you canceled, so I won't go down there just yet.
No, yeah.
But... You know,
but I mean, it's a precipice. Is, you know, the religion. I mean, if you think of Constantine and the Nicene, you know, creation of the Bible was like, let's pick the best bits. We won't put any women's bits in there, so no Mary Magdalene because women are second class. We'll just put the blokes bits in, and we'll make the story work. You know, and so it's a constructed piece to appease, you know, people. And if you appease them and they're happy, you can control them much easier. And, you know, that's the political of the world. That's what it's about, control. And so ultimately that's it. With capitalism, the same kind of thing. Yeah, if we got to sell you drugs and we're going to make millions out of selling drugs, you've got to be ill. So we're going to make you ill so that we can make money out of selling you drugs to cure you. So it's like, but again, all of that, which is a truism, it just blows my mind. It's like, how did we get to that? How did we get to that state that way? You know, and you know, I come from a very working class environment, shipbuilding and coal. Those were the two enterprises in the northeast of England. Shipbuilding, my father died of asbestos poisoning and he had white finger, which is a repetition thing from the work he did. And, you know, his veins were bad. He had high blood pressure. He smoked them, drank himself to death because that was the byproduct of working in a very hard industry to recreate. And, you know, coal mining, I mean, you know, what a kind of fucking work that is. You know, you think of those diamond mines in Africa. How many people die doing that? But the government in control is like, yeah, well, if 1 million people died, there'll be another 1 million people next week because everybody's having babies anyway. So the planet propagates itself for people. So if we lose a few, it's okay. You know, and you end up with these conflicts. Whereas, okay, he's got a political point. He's got a political point. They're trying to, you know, when someone divided your countries with a pencil, you go, well, that actually was ours. So of course you're going at some point there may be some conflict over that land that you decided, who isn't even from there, that those people should live in two different places. They're going to go, hang on a second. So they might conflict to get it back. And you think of all of that mentality that goes on, and you know, we're doing it to ourselves most of the time. It's like, surely we can all come together and go, hang on, we're fucking this up, aren't we? We really are fucking this up. I think dividing, not having borders, because there's a big thing about borders and migrations and refugees and that. So I don't want to get into that. But I didn't mean that you shouldn't have divisional countries. But I just like, but you can't change a culture of people who live in a particular place anyway. So do you need to have, you know, something drawn on a map that says in the middle of a desert where nobody lives and there's fucking nothing there should be a divisional line? Should there? Can't you just wander across? No, because it's a border, but there's nothing there. I know, but that's ours and that's theirs. And it's like, wow, we have to keep owning things all the time. People want to own things. And it's like, okay, what about the people? Because, you might be bombing your opponent to death, but you're also bombing people who just going to school, doing their shopping, doing their washing, just wandering around the park and want exactly what you want. They want to lie in a park on a summer's day with their kids in a fountain, eating cheese sandwiches and crisps and drinking beer. That's what they want to do. And they want to get up and go home and have dinner with their family. That's it. And all of a sudden, because of your political wrangling or whatever it is, you're bombing the shit out of them. Now they don't have a home. One guy lost all his family, or one woman, or whatever, and you're like, wow, do we need to blame everybody for some people's actions? And does everybody have to pay the price for this? And it's like, wow. And that's not to do with what's happening in the Middle East. That's just conflict in general,
I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, you go to Flanders or fucking Waterloo or the Little Bighorn or, and Gettysburg, I go to all these military sites. That was my major, was American history. And so I go to all these military sites and you're just thinking, the decimation of what happened there. And what is the result? Well, yeah, there was some movement, there was some freedom of people. That was good. But basically, did it need to have all of those deaths and all of that conflict for so long and all of those other people to suffer just to move like 2 foot this way when you could have just solved it much easily just by going, okay, well, why don't we do this, And so those things puzzle me with human nature. But again, primeval instinct means, you've got to defend it and that's what you do, And Goebbels, you were saying about creating and solving, that was Goebbels' handbook. He was Goebbels' handbook. His propaganda handbook was like, first of all, you have to create a problem that only you can fix. And then you tell people and they'll follow you to the end of the earth because you're going to be their savior. But they're unaware that you actually have created the problem that they want you to fix.
I mean, it's a textbook thing as old as time itself. Even like the antivirus softwares would do the same. They would create the viruses, and it's happened politically many a times. It's a very old known technique.
It's shameful. It's shameful that you manipulate an audience in that way. It's shameful. When most people can go from the rise of all of that. And how do you convince a whole load of people who just go about their daily chores that they need to join up or they need to fight somebody that they never thought about fighting before? You convince them that they're gonna pay the price if they don't. And everybody's gonna want to protect their family. It's human nature, isn't it? You're gonna want to. Yeah. So of course you're gonna do things you would never consider in a regular insane normal life. So those things about touching people through our music at shows and on the bus, your guy on the bus, me with the woman in the window, the shirt that we're talking about, pointing out those shirts to young people to go, oh my God, someone knows my shit and I'm not just weird. Those things are so important because again, we're reaching beyond anything. It didn't matter where that kid was going. It didn't matter what was happening with his family. It didn't matter what he was going to do after school or what he did before or what religion he was, or what language he spoke or anything else. It just mattered that you made the connection and went, fucking cool shirt, and that was your connection. And that's music. Absolutely. That's music that does that. And that's a magical thing. It's a magical thing.
And if I may say, I think what you do that is so special, so like you're talking about, we're going to South America, we're going to Asia, we're going to America, we're playing Newcastle, all these different things that you're talking about. Ultimately, like what even is that is you guys going on stage, performing music that obviously is legendary, but ultimately what it's doing is it's bringing humans together. So not only you're going around the world meeting everyone in the world, you're also making the world meet itself because all of those people are coming together, getting to have a good time, hopefully, and most definitely, and then having a kick-ass fucking time, And if I may say, and I guess this can kind of allow us to conclude a little bit as well, just on the Venom Inc. topic as well, because I think there's a lot to be maybe said, but then at the same time maybe there isn't, because what I will say from my perspective as a fan is that I've seen Venom Inc. Okay, and I have also seen Venom, and I actually just saw them in Norway 2-3
cool.
months ago.
Yeah.
And I think that if you enjoy Venom music and all of those classic records and everything that's been, you should go and check out both shows. I think that
absolutely.
I think that
more is better, isn't it?
Yeah, more is better. And like I loved what you said earlier. You're like, I don't want to live in a world without Venom. I fucking love that.
No,
that's excellent. And I think that you do great justice to these songs. And if there's one, I don't think that there should be a necessity to justify things, because the simple fact that you've got people from all over the world asking you to go and play those songs for them, I think that kind of speaks for itself. That's just me.
Exactly. I mean, that's exactly. And I think, that was the analogy, is like Venom to me is a family, and that includes the fans who love the music. And it's all one big family, and it's all there to be had. And if you prefer something, you can. And if you prefer a particular period, you've got it. And if you want to see them or them, you can. And if you want to hear these songs or those songs, you can. I mean, surely more is better. And we're very different performers. He's classic, of course, the voice, and it's him. And I'm all about the soul of the music and the energy of the music. And I want to make it as real as possible. So they may perform the classic songs in a linear fashion, and I just want the chaos and I want the reality of what the meaning of it is. So those things mixed together, I mean, that's got to be good, isn't it? If you're a fan of it, and like I used to say, I was going, say you like chocolates. What, are you only going to eat one? But I love chocolates. Well, there's 10 there. They're all yours. I only want to eat these ones, or I want to eat all of them. And if more is better, that's my favorite chocolate bar, but I've only got this little one. Or you could have this huge one. Can I have the huge one? Of course you want to have the huge one. You can enjoy it more. So
absolutely.
I think sometimes people prohibit themselves, again, like we were saying, because they're going, should I, shouldn't I, is it, isn't it? Oh, but there's these reasons. It's like, listen, it doesn't matter what anybody else says. They have their opinion. You have your opinion. What do you feel? What do you feel? And I used to say to people who sometimes would question it, I go, just come to the show, let yourself go. If you don't want to look, close your eyes, experience it. At the end of that, if it did nothing for you, you've done it. You don't have to come again. But if it worked for you, then you've opened up a Pandora box to something else. It's something amazing. It could be amazing. But you won't know until you've done it. So just go and have a lick,
Absolutely, man. Absolutely love your thinking. Tony, brother, you are a fucking inspiration. I loved having you on the podcast, and I have a feeling we need to do this again sometime.
I think absolutely. We should call it In Conversation, and we should have 2 glasses of brandy and a big cigar. We'd just be sitting face to face in a room with a couple of, wooden chairs, and we just yawn for a bit, because that was amazing. I loved it. I love talking about the training, because I don't get to talk about that so much, but also the inspiring bit and the music. I think we covered a lot, and we almost went into politics, but we talked a little history more, which was amazing. But you're a very astute individual. You're very well schooled, and you've got so much experience and so much to offer. And I think as an artist, and also as a convolutory, as a talking head, and as a trainer as well, you're proof of doing it for yourself. So I think, you're a 10 out of 10, and I support your podcast. I'm so privileged to be on here, and this was an amazing conversation. And I will see you at Bloodstock, I hope.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate the fuck out of you. Thank you for the kind words. And I'm sure we will bump into each other very soon. And to everyone listening to the podcast, support the fuck out of Venom Inc. See them on the road. Hope you enjoyed this episode. See you next time.
See you guys. Be good.